Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, the third episode of the Kelly Lawson podcast. I'm Kelly Lawson. Today, we're going to talk about being a hypocrite. I am a hypocrite. In the last couple of weeks since I started this podcast, what I've done is I've taken on all of the bad habits, well, not all, but a lot of the bad habits that we've talked about becoming a better person. I've done this a lot in my life. It's called mirroring. At least that's what I call it. I don't know the psychological term for it. But in mirroring, I would do this as a boxing coach all the time. You get athletes in, you're teaching them how to box. Here's the 1-2, here's the basics, here's how you stand. And something will be off. And you'll start mimicking what they're doing and what they're doing that's off. It won't be until you start sparring and someone's kind enough and can find it in their heart to punch you in the head or body or liver to let you know that you've developed a bad habit. Thanks, you are very kind, and thank you for that. What they do in the sport of boxing is they expose those weaknesses because you broke your form. You did something you're not supposed to do. Well, it's only once I get hit that I start analyzing and getting really upset because I got hit. Why'd that happen? I was coaching that young person, and they were dropping their hand, and I started involuntarily dropping my hand, which is why I call it mirroring. And, something about these shows, it's just a lot like preachers and psychologists and folks that help people mentally. That's a rough gig because what you do is you draw the universe towards you. So you draw the very things you're trying to shield against, you draw them into you. So while I'm talking to you about, hey, here's what you do, those demons are right here and right here on my shoulders, just living there, waiting and waiting and waiting for the opportunity to sink their claws in because they don't ever go away. You can shield against them. Some of them may take a far back seat, but they're still there. Those demons, the devil and his 10,000, there's a reason for that. 10,000 of those. In these last shows, I've talked about morning routines, which I'm still doing that. I've talked about, getting your day right. I'm doing that. And I've talked about getting your house in order, getting all the little things done. I'm almost completely done with that. So now you're down to, okay, well then blood work. I've done that and I'm running pretty darn good all the way across the spectrum there. Then next is okay, well, you've been able to hold it and stabilize it somewhat. Okay, now let's start guiding and teaching, which I've always done is, I've taught this over and over for decades, but putting it to an actual podcast forum is drawing in the demons even stronger because it's publicly out there. And so the challenge of that is as we start discussing about how to beat vices, demons, and how to shield against them, habit stacking, things we've articulated in the first and second show on little things we can do to get ahead to help reduce anxiety in this. What happens when you start teaching others and then you start doing all of it? In church a few years back, about a year ago, I noticed that the fathers always look so upset when they're in there. They look so serious. They're just like, they got this disgruntled look like they hate the world in a way, It's hard for me to read, not understanding at that point. What I've learned since then is that heavy lies the burden. So if you want to be a mentor to somebody, understand the burden of what that is. Because the first one, and I'm walking through it, and I'll talk to you about this, as I'm telling you what not to do. I went out and eaten bad. I'm day drinking. I'm doing all the vice things that you're not supposed to do that I'm telling you not to do. I'm picking up on. By teaching about these demons, it allows these demons to get closer to you. So as one starts talking about dietary options, next thing you know, he's stopping and getting cookies. As one's talking about don't drink, is day drinking. Okay, and so you could look at the behaviors and go, okay, well, what's causing a guy to do that? Is he upset? Is he happy? Or is he bored? And this is where one has to analyze. But it first starts with humility of self. Know when you're being wrong. You know you're doing wrong. So when you compound enough knows that you're doing them wrong, then you get into a point where you get mad at yourself because you're like, why am I eating cookies right now? I literally feel fat. I feel horrible. I feel like I'm losing control of my ability to not eat. That's crazy because we lose control a lot in our life, which makes us hypocrites. Every one of us is a hypocrite. I'm just bringing it straight to your face because I am failing. I looked at my scale this morning. It said I was 251. I have been fighting between 250 and 253, but I have been eating like crap. Prime example. Girl Scout cookies. I went into Fred Meyer's. I was going to go do a thing. I had to pick up some items in there, and I go to get these items. I see the evil little things standing there. And hey, it's the only time of year I can justify it. I can BS us all day long on it. I won't do it again. I won't stop. That's an absolute fact. It'll be next year, and I'll do the same thing again next year. And I'll go in there and I'll get my box of Samoas. Well, this year it was 2, 1 per day. Because they go down quick. There's 15 in there. I did the math on it. Serving samples, for the box is 7 times 150 calories. So it's 1,050 calories. Thank goodness gracious. Because that could have been way out of hand. So I looked at, I knocked down 2,100 calories of uselessness. Mind you, I've worked out every single day for the last 10 days. Every single day I've exercised, did my 30-minute slow jog in the morning, do my morning routine, which I don't count that as exercise. I'm doing all the right steps in life still. Those are not taking back seats, but these vices are coming to the forefront. Here I am talking about not doing it, then that's what I want to do. It just makes me yearn for it by dialoguing. That's why I have to pray every morning for the Lord to protect me from the devil and his 10,000. Right there. There's a 10,000. That's the voice or the feeling or the emotion inside of you. Sometimes it's so deep in you, the devil's got his hooks in you, that it's like a wave that you lose control over. You're like, I'm eating clam chowder. I'm enjoying my lunch here because I didn't have nothing at the house. So I'm having a healthy lunch. Well, that's not really healthy, but whatever. It's good food. And, I know these guys have good cookies here. Let me get 3 for the road. That right there is like 750 on the light day. I'm probably going to say 1,000 to 1,100. And all it did is just create the crackhead spinning out wanting more. Soon as I took a bite of those cookies, but the fact that I gave in, there's the devil and his 10,000. That's me being a hypocrite. Telling you guys, Dave, right there, you got to fight that right there. Don't give in. Yay, kumbaya, rah, 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 we're a team, go team. And then what do? Go right out there and make it 3 of them cookies right there. Them ones that are the extra brown on them, that means they cooked them a little longer. I like the chocolate chip cookie, still moist, but yet, right there with the ginger and the goodness and the vanilla. Yummy. Okay, it's my addiction to sugar, eating bad. So things I've started doing as the hypocrite, as I'm telling you guys to habit stack yourself correctly, which now I have to do this, is I need to now figure out what I want to eat. And all I really care to eat is steak and potatoes right now because it'll fill me up and it does its job. If I can eat that, I got to go out and buy a bunch of steaks and cook them up in advance. And that's my lunch and just power through it and not eat breakfast, which we talked about in episode 2. Guess what I've done? I did it again this morning. Hell, as of this meeting right now, it's 10:30 as I'm filming this. I made breakfast at 9. Shoots. Because I ate yesterday at 4:30, even though it was a little tiny bowl of nachos. That's all I had. And then I only had lunch yesterday, and that was the only food because I got mad at myself. On Sunday, I woke up with bad mood because I knew I was failing. I knew inside of myself, I'm failing myself, and here I am vocalizing it, putting myself out to millions of people. Doesn't matter that 6 viewed it or not. One day, millions have access to this. And I failed. And I had guilt. Well, good. I'm glad you have guilt. I have guilt on this. This is a fantastic thing. Because in essence, it's that guilt that hopefully lights a fire underneath you to go, I got to be better. I got to be better. So when I woke up Sunday morning, I was relatively good all day Sunday. I did Sunday as the beginning of the purge, where I reduced no sugars all day long. The next day, I told myself, and here's where I failed, which is why I changed this whole show of the week. I had a whole nother podcast delivered. This is why I'm doing this. This one is because it's repentance. I know I'd failed. I felt guilty about it. Well, now what do you do about it? Well, you have to turn around and you have to make amends. Well, I'm working out every day. So that's somewhat of an amends through action, but it's just countering the toxic, which is why my weight hasn't gone down. I'm fluctuating water weight, but I'm just basically doing everything in right life enough to sustain the fat growth. But if I slow down working out, bang, I'm going to be 260 tomorrow if I keep up what I'm doing. And I've kept it off for years. It's these struggles that I'm trying to work through, and hopefully you can see it because you have these struggles. Everyone has these struggles. And it's, do I give in? Can I fight that overwhelming urge? And that's why I said, okay, we have to do the show being a hypocrite. Myself, okay, on Sunday, I'm gonna fast on Monday. I'm gonna make it all day Monday. So this was challenging because when you add life stressors into the equation, That's super hard. I've been on an emotional roller coaster. On Thursday, I was on top of the world. Last week, I landed multiple clients. I put out my second show, feeling great that I'm going through the things. I'm doing the steps. I'm putting the work in. I'm doing the little bit of work. I'm doing all the little things in life that it's helping me stabilize. I'm like, this is awesome. Things are going great. The Lord will always test you to see if you truly have faith. Thursday, I put the podcast out, which to me, it's a win as soon as I hit post. I don't care what it does. It's a win as soon as I hit post. I had Thursday evening to enjoy my life and go, man, things are great. I'm on top of the world. I got 7 jobs, 7 positions filled. Everybody's good. I've pulled off the miracle. It is awesome. Got the podcast hitting everything. Life is rewarding me. I am fulfilled. This is awesome. Friday morning, 7:03, letter of resignation. From one of my rock star employees. I take loss very heavily. In this case, at least it wasn't anything of what we did to him or anything like this. It's a medical issue. And so you have to support the man. He has a fight ahead of him. Respect, salute, sir. It's been a privilege working with you. It just hurts to lose somebody, which is why I spiraled out so bad on my food on Friday and Saturday with the Girl Scout cookies. Is because I was upset. And when I'm upset, I comfort eat. Go to sugar. Sugar gives you dopamine, which makes you feel better. It also gives you an insulin spike, which gives you a euphoria back to the dopamine. But it gives you high energy so that you can negate the negativity. Balanced, where I can just sit there and go, okay, I'm not super depressed right now because I'm sad inside. Get through the weekend, like I said, Sunday, I wake up in the morning upset, feeling guilty that I'm failing the Lord, failing you guys, failing just the universe itself because I'm not doing right. I'm not sticking by the word. I'm failing the word. Monday morning comes around and 7:04, 7:10, whatever, early, boom, letter of resignation from another employee. He's moving on to a greener pastures, got a better job. I wish him the best of luck. Now I'm failing 2 customers that I didn't have no control over, and my world just got yanked upside down. And now all of a sudden my plans for the entire summer got yanked upside down, and now I'm sitting in a seat for 60 hours a week at wherever until October. I'm still going to put these out every week. I can't let that affect me, which it did yesterday, which is Monday. Today is Tuesday. I just wasn't in the good mood after taking a loss of another employee, which means something deeply to me because I've known this person for a couple of years. I've mentored, guided, educated, paid for their education, made them a better version of themselves. And then they use it and they go get, greener pastures, and God bless you. Next. But there's no next. The Lord hasn't provided that part of the story yet. It will come, as it always does. But as of right now, that's where your faith comes in, and you can go, the sky is falling. Thursday, I was on top of the world. It couldn't get any better. Boom, boom. Oh, Lord, have mercy. But faith, it's not even a question. He'll provide the answer just as fast, and it'll come along just as quickly. And so by the end of yesterday, I'd worked it out with the owners. I just ended up just losing one position, which sucks because that means that's X number of thousands of dollars of positive revenue into the company to help support. By the end of yesterday, I had worked through it, worked through the loss, worked through the fact that I can't control these things, and decided right then and there I need to take ownership of me failing and the hypocrisy of what happens. And it doesn't matter why it spirals out. You have to do repentance. So what's repentance look like for me in this case? What repentance looks like, quite honestly, is stay the course, continue the morning routine, continue that training, get your sweat on. Got mine in this morning. There's no more cookies in the house. I'm not stopping and getting any of that. I'm not eating out, which is my biggest excuse because I didn't go buy the food and make the food so I have food prepared for me. Well, then I'll go eat a burger. I'll go eat out. You're absolutely right. I'll go do that. And that's where I fail my diet and then slows down the weight loss. And for me, I feel it's really the high levels of fat and sodium from eating out. Even if it seems like it's relatively healthy, it's the sodium that they use that you just won't lose the weight. You can't eat out. You got to cook your own protein sources. Side note, if you crave carbs, like, I want carbs, breads, or, sweets or something like that, and you have the cravings for that, what that's an indicator of is your body's depleted for protein. Weirdness. You'd think you'd crave what it needed, but it was actually kind of opposite in this case. I just learned that yesterday, sharing a little tidbit of information. So every time you feel like you want carbs or something sweet, go eat protein. Get a protein bar in you or something like that, a protein shake. get some chicken breast or something, and then it'll go away completely because your body's fiending for protein, which is good because you're probably losing muscle. If your body's, it's like if you're thirsty, well, you've been way too thirsty for a while. You're technically dehydrated if you feel thirsty. Life stressors and how we manage them, guys. Being humble, recognizing it, letting it hit us with the impact that it should. A lot of people dismiss that. My Sunday morning when I woke up super upset at myself and just negative because I'm failing. And the pressure of this makes me want to, it's, you feel like you got to be held on a higher standard, which you do, as it should be. Don't claim the title of mentor or coach if you're not willing to handle it. And that's what it means, is you've got to walk the path. We fall down, and if we fall down, you own it. You try your best not to do it again. And trust me on that one, it's going to happen again in food and alcohol. I'm just going to try my best to make it through today until I hit goal weights. But it's also a balance of life, and we'll talk about that later. Right now, for me, what I'm trying to work on is the trait of being able to wield my self-control. That's the trait I'm trying to wield. How you do one is how you do them all. Understand, when you try to wield the trait of self-control, that is, I'm not going to cuss. Even if I'm on a job site that everybody's other word is an F word. It's a 4-letter word always on every job site, every automotive dealership, every construction zone out there, anywhere where you have a high number of what seems to be the male species, although the females in the trades cuss more than the men. I'm scared of them. But how we do one is how we do them all. So if you can't tell yourself, I'm going to quit cursing, not because of some justification why, well, people that curse because somebody heard a random study that says people that curse are 10% more honest than those are 20% more honest than those that don't curse. Okay, or lack self-control, apparently. And then that could be an easy argument there. As they lack the self-control to keep their mouths shut, so they run their sucks and then say exactly what they should be saying when maybe they shouldn't have said it, because maybe it embarrasses or embitters someone. And a lot of people don't care about that. And there's the reason why our planet is in the state that it is, the human species, right there. Do not embarrass or embitter ever. That's a tough one. You could still get the same outcome without doing either one of those two things. And that's one of the hardest things you can do. But if you come from that place, it negates a lot of things in this life. One of the things I'd like to ask is, when we talk about triggers for comfort, what are some things that trigger comfort for us that we can, each person is different. Comfort foods is one of them that most people go to first thing. It's like, for me, I love myself some biscuits and gravy. That's good chow right there, I tell you what. Comfort food for me will always be going to a Mexican restaurant, because since I've been born, literally once a month at least, but usually once a week, my mom and I have gone to a Mexican restaurant and had margaritas and ate. Obviously, I didn't have margaritas until I was at least 13, 14 years old, respectively. It's comforts. What triggers your comfort? And when you throw food into it, okay, well, let's look at what foods do that. And this is, as you start literally psychologically mapping yourself, these are great exercises to start doing. And it's kind of like a master sheet with bubbles all over the place, like an org chart in a sense. And that's where you would take that and go, okay, well, what brings me comfort? Okay, it could be, shots of Jaeger, strippers, and loud, Nickelback music could bring you immense comfort. All of that is sending the devil, by the way, which is why it's comforting, because he's allowing it and he's smiling and welcoming you in with open arms. The devil does that. He's evil that way. And it always comes as good times and fun. Right there. Multiple demons got access. It's an open portal for all around. Just dive on in. These guys are diving in, taking a splash. You got one demon coming off the top rope, belly flopping into that group. Boom! Especially where the strippers are all just daddy issues. Oh yeah, demons everywhere in that scenario. Or what is a trigger for comfort? Could be, I know a lot of folks that it's as soon as they get on that boat on the river and they're going out to that cabin, that can be a trigger. Right? And these are good things for you to start compartmentalizing. You think, oh, I know all this stuff off the top of my head. Oh, hold on. There's a method to the madness. The documentation trail will come in handy later when we start building more pieces of the what's next in your life chapter. That's the hardest part, is what makes you truly fulfilled and happy. So trying to understand what is a trigger for comfort, or, what kinds of things, and that's one way of thinking about, okay, what brings me comfort, which means to me it's safety, warmth, happiness, just a feeling of euphoria, of goodness, surrounded by love. There's comfort there. Others, maybe the storm is where they're comfortable. Careful depending what storm they choose. If it's toxicity, run. And they have to understand that you can be around the storm, but understand there's positive and negative storms. And they're right there, very, very close when it comes to dealing with storms. That's people that like drama. That's people that like excitement, thrill seekers. The storm, chaos, living on the edge. They get lost because they're absolutely focused in that moment, and the voices and all the other things don't kick in yet. That's that moment. You got to be careful there too. The storm. We're going to talk about on this show, as we kind of work our way through it, is we're working through how to structure, how to build, how to set ourselves up to succeed, how to get the blood work. And we're past all that. We're crushing it. We're day to day. We're doing great. And then the Lord throws a nice training obstacle at us and says, okay, here's a training cycle. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to completely melt out? Are you going to say the wrong sequence of words? Ooh, that's a tough one right there. So many people will vent their inside voice out when they're in those situations of stress. I will not embarrass or embitter. Have control over your life. This is so important right here, that we fail. I just told you a whole bunch of it. We fail. But we get right back up and we're like, I'm going to get stronger again because I'm pissed that I failed. I shouldn't have failed. I knew better. I actually did it willingly, which is the real rub. And so now I have to buckle down and I have to fast and I have to go the 18 hours. So today's show is about being a hypocrite. I've laid out how I've made mistakes in this last week. I've laid out that I was making those mistakes while balancing a lot of positives. I had a lot of positive wins. My morning routine, I've got so many positives, but I also have so many negatives that happen. And life is cyclic. Sometimes you go through cycles in life that it just rains every day. Other days, it's pretty sunny. I had a few moments there, usually about 3 or 4 hours is all I'm ever allowed to have, where I'm like, man, and it's always weird. As soon as I always feel, gosh, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Things are going great right now. Not from an ego standpoint, from a comfort standpoint. Man, things are going really, really good right now. The good Lord will put some adversity right in front of me to see how I handle it. And that's how it always is you have to have the good with the bad. It can't just always be good. So whether it's running your company or your personal life or anything, understand that it too will pass. It's how we handle it. In closing to today's show of being a hypocrite and how we're all guilty of it, I called out some of mine, for example, of what I'm doing. And I even said, okay, well, what can I do to fix that? What I can do to fix that is start listening to my own advice a little bit. That's the first start. And actually doing it. Sometimes we have steps back. It's okay. You're going to fall down. You're going to say things that maybe you shouldn't have said. I am of the mind, and I hope this community can be that way, that we can all understand that people may not say the right thing every time, that they make mistakes, that people will be hypocrites a lot of times. Being in the public, being a coach, a mentor, a teacher is extremely hard because you bring those demons to yourself. Those demons of the devil of everything you're teaching about now is coming more into your life. So you have to have resistance. And that's where having your faith comes into play, having a support group around you of people that are of good, positive minds. And just at the end of the day, doing your absolute best with a clean heart, just trying. On Sunday morning when I woke up, because I was so upset, I didn't have a clean heart. I knew I was being a hypocrite, regardless of the excuse of why, and I gave you the reasons. I knew it was wrong. So I was like, okay, it's time to tune it up a little bit. And we'll start working around. And again, I'll start my climb up again to get better and better and better and build more and more resistance. Will I fall down? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm going to get right back up and do it again. Just like in boxing, every champion's been knocked down. So if they got back up, which they did, that's why they're the champions. It's the same thing in this thing in life. You're going to get knocked down again and again and again. And it's ironically in some of our lives, it's right when we think we have victory in our grasp, it gets pulled out from our fingertips every time. And that's because we have more and more lessons on how to become better, how to become stronger. And that's what that really is forging. That is the forging, is the setbacks. The lessons learned. Okay, well now when I have my setbacks and I lose my people, it hurts, but it doesn't impact me near like it used to. And I don't say it still hurts equally emotionally, but how I let it spin me out and affect other aspects of my life, I've gotten a much better handle on that. And that's growth. And that's at the end of the day all we can all hope for in this life, is to, when life comes and throws us adversity, we can have the growth and the humility to figure out how we can get through it with the best attitude possible, learn from our mistakes, hopefully not make them again and again and again and again and again and again, and grow together. Kelly Lawson Podcast. I'm Kelly Lawson. Thank you for listening and taking the time out of your day. Hit that like, subscribe, and follow button. It would be so helpful for us in the algorithm. You guys have a blessed one.